Yeah.
I'll DM you the our link tree.
Link.
We're
Okay.
like we got genre ADHD though. I'll warn you right now.
Yeah, we go from we go from reggae to yeah, kind of industrial to a little bit of ska and you know, a little kind
alternative
of a power
rock
ballad to a little bit of
indie rock stuff and
you know, spitting rap back and forth. What was
that?
that?
There's that too.
Zach's son called it what, dad groove?
Yeah, I called it dad groove. Welcome back to the ZHZ Podcast, your go-to spot for everything music and the DIY artist journey. I'm Zach Davis.
And I'm Matt Allen. Today, we have an incredible guest, singer-songwriter Bernice Celeste.
Bernice has a powerful, emotive voice, hooky melodies, and moving lyrics, and her journey from musical family to making waves in the music industry is inspiring.
We'll dive into her story, her new single, I Don't Even Miss You, and what's next for her career.
So stick around, and let's jump into the episode. So how did you guys meet? Like, how did you guys meet up?
So we're Disney streamers, man.
Okay.
And yeah, we were both. She and her family are really close with a lot of the Disney streamers that I follow. And there was one day, and I'll tell the story once we went, you know, on the show. But you know, there was one day where I was watching. And they were like, okay, well, we're gonna end the stream now. They were at Disneyland. They're like, we're all gonna go and watch our friend Bernice play at House of Blues tonight. And I'm like, live music, hell yeah, sign me up. So I jumped on their live stream, and they live streamed Bernice's set from House of Blues in Anaheim, and it was just like, hell yeah, all right, this is. So that was rad.
That's
was
pretty
so
cool.
Rad.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool gig. House of Blues in Anaheim. That's a big one.
And
Heck
so yeah, so a lot. So and like a lot of the YouTubers that I follow, that a couple of like you know, I moderate for TPC and for Cordy. And I'm, you know, constantly watching Donnie and Jen, but she's, you know, friends with this whole community of Disney YouTubers that I follow, you know, relentlessly, and so it's just really
Donnie
cool.
Land.
Yeah, it was Donnie that was live streaming that night. So
Donnie Land, is that what you said?
That's another. I'm gonna pitch Donnie to get him on the show too, man, because he's got the musical, like, everything musical, man. That dude's knows everybody and has been doing it for years. So
well, right on. Bernice, welcome to the show. We usually go through a format where we ask like a past, present, and then what's coming up next. So let's go ahead and start with your past. What was your aha moment with your music career where you're like, I just not only like this, but I'm gonna pursue this to like the next level? How did that come about?
It happened at 14 years old.
Okay.
We lived in South Carolina at the time. Well, I'm from California. We moved a lot growing up. Texas, South Carolina, came back to California.
Because military brat?
My family we traveled a lot, and we wanted to see different. We had family around the country, and you know, California's expensive.
Yeah.
So we moved to Texas and South Carolina, and then when I was in South Carolina, I learned guitar, piano, and I fell in love with writing. So out there, I was like, I told my parents, I know you don't. Well, I'm 14, but I really want to do this. And then at the time, a family tragedy happened, so we moved back to California, and I've been doing it since 14, 15 years old.
Wow. So what did you have a mentor back there? Did you take lessons from somebody or encourage you to write? Or you just kind of like, you know what? I want to write my own stuff.
I mean, I always loved lyrics growing up, even when I listened to like music growing up, you know, like at 6, 7 years old. I just always listened to the storytelling. And at 14, I don't know. It was just something in me that made me want to be a writer and do the singing thing. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's kind of where I was at. Like I probably wrote music before I learned how to play music, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
I was more interested in my my dad had bought my mom a piano because I guess she's like, I want a piano, and it was like a used one or whatever, but out of tune, and it just sat there for a few years. Like my
Yeah.
mom maybe played it once or something, and then one day I decided I wanted to try it out, and I just memorized patterns, and I'm like, oh, this is cool, and it probably sounded like some little Indian chant or something, but I loved it, right? So I'm like, I wrote
Yeah.
it, I made this, and it just kind of went from there as far as my story is pretty similar that way. But so you moved around how did that shape your musical influence, having, moving around the country a
Oh,
lot?
big time. I mean, California was, I grew up with my family. We listened to a lot of like oldies, like Smokey Robinson, the Beatles, and anything, and then from to R&B, early 2000s R&B. But then when I moved to Texas and South Carolina, the country and the folk really stepped in, and that's when I first heard about Miranda Lambert, and I heard a song called "The House That Built Me." And when I heard that song, I was like, "This is the story. Like I relate to it," and that's when I started. I think that's probably the aha moment where I'm like, "I want to be a writer."
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and you have that kind of and I've listened to your stuff, and I'm like, this is very independent kind of
Mhm.
I can see where you got that from, just based on your influence. And I really dig it because your brand, if you will, your presence, online presence, is very, almost very pop or very hip hop kind of look to it. Like it's very kind of sensual, like, but your music is very like, it's a whole like another level deeper, than
Yeah.
what you would expect. It's got that very independent. I was surprised to hear it. I was like, whoa, this is cool. It's different.
Now I'm looking at your Spotify bio, and it talks about your how you come from a very musical family on top of it. So did you grow up around music being performed in the house?
Yes, my dad's sister was a Spanish singer, and she sang all around LA. Family parties to clubs to anything you can think of, and um watching her really made me fall in love with performance and the stage presence and just everything about being a singer. And so did my grandpa. Also played guitar. A lot of my cousins do art and music, so it's definitely in the family.
Very artistic family. I love it.
Yeah.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when was there a defining moment where, like, because I know you said you were influenced by some of like the Beatles, like that's one of my favorite bands of all time, absolutely, hands down. But when was it where you were learning these instruments like the piano or the guitar, and I guess you just started singing too, and then at that what point did you like, okay, I think I'm ready to do this live? Like, tell me that story. Like, what was your first show like? Let's back up to your first performance in front of audience that, let's say, it's not the living room,
My mom
but
my mom's in back of here, and she's looking at me laughing because she already knows the performance.
What's up,
But
that's
Izzy?
showing us,
What's up, Izzy?
yeah,
she
yeah.
would say, Matt says hi.
That's
Says
great.
hi.
Yeah.
But,
Hello, mom.
yeah, yeah. She can barely hear because I have the earphones on. But, first show, I was 15, and it was in Beverly Hills at the Aqua Lounge. I don't know what it is now, but, I was way too young to be there. So they, like, X's on my hands and all of
Yeah,
that.
jump through hoops. They're like, we're gonna get you in, but you can only drink soda, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
So, I performed, I think at the time I was, like, obsessed with Paramore and Demi Lovato, 2 different worlds, but
Nice.
I did a cover of their songs, and then I did one of my songs that I had written, and yeah, that was, like, the first. It was I had, like, my whole family and all my friends from school come out, and all of the underage kids with the X's and the
Uh, so
hairstyle.
they did let underage in. Like here,
Yeah.
they don't even bother with it anymore. Like Matt and I, when we were first starting out, we were in a ska
So
band
we're
called
so we're
Catfish.
in Utah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
She didn't even know where we're from.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry. Yeah, we're located in good old, Zion Curtin, Salt Lake City, Utah. But there was a club. It was just a beer bar, and we had heard rumors like, hey, they'll let underage guys in there to perform. And so we talked to them. They're like, yeah, you can come in through like the fire exit, and then you guys can play, and then you got to bounce, and that sort of thing. I think Matt was of age. He was like,
I think I was the only one. This was, gosh, this was your early mid 90s. I was the only one of age in the band, and so it was me, and then everybody else had to come in through the fire door. I just came in through the regular door, or ordered myself a pitcher. Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Yeah, there was a couple of friends in the crowd. They're like, I got a fake ID. Look at me, but
well, the funny thing about that place though is that like they were so like anal about you got to come in the fire exit and everything, but they were notorious for not carding kids at them.
They were horrible.
The place was known.
It didn't last. It didn't last very long
for it. But we played so many shows where even coming up through once most of us were of age, our sax player was way younger than the rest of us, and so we'd play places and he would have to like stay like on the stage. He couldn't leave the stage area, so we'd bring him his soda and his pitcher of water, and he got to hang out at like the kids' table on the stage.
Yeah,
and the rest of us could
at the Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah, you could sit over here. Yeah, no, that's awesome though. So what a great show! Like, what a killer experience. I bet you came off of that stage just pumped up.
I was like, I'm in Beverly Hills performing, and I was like, went to school and I told my friends, I'm like, I performed in Beverly Hills, and then they're like, what?
Nice.
Yeah, no.
So talk about how that feeling, that rush, because inherently when you're a performer, you get up on stage and you're in a whole different world. You can be nervous as anything leading up to it. You get out on that stage, that first beat hits, and you are just you're in it. So talk about the how it feels for you to be on stage connecting with your audience.
Yeah. Well, before I go on stage, I'm a nervous wreck. I'm like, wow, I'm about to go and tell my stories in front of everybody. And then once I'm on stage, it's just, I don't know. This thing happens. In college, we called it the genius cloud takes over. And, it just, everything just makes sense and all the nerves go away. And I just feel like I'm helping people and healing people through lyrics and music, and someone out there in the crowd's feeling it. So yeah, I don't know, I love it. It makes me feel understood and like we're not alone in this world,
Absolutely.
I think you just summed it all up so well, so succinctly right there. Helping people and healing people through music, because when you're on stage, you are stripped bare. You are as vulnerable, about as vulnerable as a human being can be, because especially when it's your lyrics, your story, your songs that you're performing, because it is a very real stripped down. This is me. This is my story. This is my experience. This is my soul laid bare for you.
Yeah.
And when
you're kind of reliving those songs again, like every time you perform them. So sometimes when I'm performing something that's really vulnerable, I'm like, wow, that happened to me. And then somebody after I perform, they come up to me like, this song, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That's a story from a long time ago can help somebody now. So it's
right.
Really great.
And I think as a performer, for me, those are like the special moments, is when you can see that connection, whether they come up to you after the performance and let you know, hey, that song really hit me, man. I'm really going through that kind of stuff. Or you can look in the audience while you're performing and you just feel that connection, That's when everything seems to elevate, right? Like, so you get elevated, then they get elevated because they see you elevated, and it's like this like energy's bouncing back and forth to like this amazing moment. And that's the rush, that's the rush that can't be really compared to anything.
That connection, it's really electric. Even if the room is filled and there's one person paying attention, it's like that's why you do it.
And you don't know who you're touching anyway, you have no idea what kind of impact you're having on somebody. It could be some random person, never even seen you before, never even heard of you before. They happen to be there because of so-and-so's there or whatever, and they connect, and you have no idea what kind of just that little moment in time can completely change somebody's life, you know, and you just hope it's for the better, you know, you hope it's on the positive side. But yeah, I think that's a good approach, especially as a performer, you know, and what songs mean to you may not mean the exact same thing to that person, but it doesn't take away, you know, what kind of emotional healing they got out of it, you know, like, because people would ask me too, like, so hey, that song, whatever, like, what is that about? I'd hate to tell them what I thought it was about or what I wrote it about, because generally it was always something different to them, you know. So I'm like, well, what does it mean to you, you know? And they would tell me, and obviously it'd be something different. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what it means, because mine is really lame. I like your story better.
Everyone has a different experience. That's what's cool about it.
Yeah. So, let's talk about your new release. It just came out. Well, I don't even know how long it's been out. It's pretty recently. Called I Don't Even Miss You.
Yeah, I Don't Even Miss You. That came out last year, but right now I'm currently working on an EP. So
cool.
Yeah. But I Don't Even Miss You has been out for a year. Wrote that with my co-writer, Deborah, who is actually my old professor from music college at Los Angeles College of Music. I left school. Yeah, I left school and I was like, hey, we write really good together. Do you want to write with me forever? And she's like, yeah.
Forever? You want to be my partner forever? Forever, ever? That's great. So, she's like, okay.
Yeah, she's like, yes, please. So now we have like this like songwriting duo thing called Brown Eyed Girls, and all my songs that are more recent in the past 5 years are written with her. So
okay, so she was a part of this song here. I Don't Even Miss You. Mm-hmm. Nice. Now, so tell me about that story. Is there a story behind that one? Because it kind of sounds like it's like a breakup. It's like a breakup song. Like, go ahead. I'll let you tell the story. Tell the story.
Yeah, it's a breakup anthem.
Yeah.
It was this guy I was involved with like in my early 20s, you know, like everybody works out and then it doesn't.
Yeah.
And they tried to come back recently while having a girlfriend, which is weird. And I was like, I'm gonna write a song about this. My Taylor Swift thing instincts came in.
Hey, it sells big time. You know, like it sells. So
yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna write about it, and it was really healing. It kind of gave me closure. And then I don't know if he's heard it. I'm pretty sure he has, because he tends to like my music. And
well, yeah, because it sounds like he might be like stalking you from afar, you know.
Probably.
And
yeah, we wrote it, and yeah, I put a snip of it on TikTok once, and it got like over 68,000 views, and a bunch of girls were like, I feel this, and I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, and then from there I gained a little fan base, and I was like, I think I should release this song, and I released it, and yeah, it's been for about a year now.
That's awesome. That's great. My daughter, she's 11. She's like madly in love with Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo. And some of the favorite songs that she sings are about these breakup songs, you know. Or what's the one? I can't remember the name of the song, but it's the one where she's talking about getting her driver's license. And
driver's license, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called, driver's license.
Got my driver's license, so now I'm going to stalk you.
And it's just more like, screw you, you know, like, yeah, and she loves it, right? It has to be. It's girl power. Girl power.
Yes.
So,
it's all girlhood.
Yep.
Yeah, I've gotten 11. My daughter's 11 as well. They're kind of they're kind of partners in crime. So, you know, from time to time we'll get together, and we know it's trouble when Stella and Quinn kind of join forces. But I was a year or two ago when the Talking Heads re-released their Stop Making Sense concert movie in theaters. I took Quinn with me, and Quinn was just like, this is so cool, Dad. Talking Heads is awesome. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. We're exiting the theater, and she sees the movie poster for Taylor Swift Eras Tour movie.
Yeah.
And she's like, Dad, I came to Talking Heads with you. So, and she points up to the poster. I'm like, turnabout is fair play, my dear. So we went and we watched, and I'll tell you what, I was converted that night. You know,
I know.
she is that you want to talk about somebody that knows how to connect with their audience.
Yeah.
She's one talented gal.
Yeah. That concert's
Props.
crazy.
So what's the songwriting process like for you? Like for me, example, I will usually write some sort of a melody or music. I don't write lyrics until after the fact, but I know you're kind of a lyricist at heart. So do you usually write the lyrics first and then put the music to it, or what's your process like?
It's different every time. So sometimes I'll have a lyric or a title, and then from there, I love concept songs. So, uh, like right now, I'm writing one called Big Blue Eyes, and I'm like, okay, things that match with blue, like the ocean, blue fire, and like I don't know. It's just I'll um just kind of like it's different. I don't know. I'll do voice memos. I'll do melodies. I do yeah, it's honestly different every time, or sometimes I just get the guitar and I just have to crank it out, so it's different every time, honestly.
I've tried to do the lyrics first and then write a music to it afterwards,
Yeah.
and it never flows for me that way. It always has to be the music first. But I'm a musician first before like
Okay.
yeah, like I was playing music like I was saying when I was a kid, playing piano and stuff like that. And then when my mom had taken me to see Oingo Boingo, actually wearing the shirt,
Cool.
well, my first concert, and watching Danny Elfman, I was like, I want to be a singer now, you know? And so maybe that's why for me, but I'm always interested in, because I think it's interesting to see what other musicians in their process of how they write music and stuff. So do you do all the recording and engineering and on your own, or do you have help with that?
I do have help with that, 'cause, my co-writer's husband is actually the a drumming professor at LACM, so he does, and also for, studio work and stuff, so he does everything. He records, he engineers, and he helps me figure that out. Yeah.
Nice. So do you go to did they have do you end up going to like the university to do your tracking, or you track over it? Does he have like a studio in his house that you go to
Yeah, they
track,
have a
or?
studio in their back garage. They converted it into a two-story studio, and it's the coolest thing. I'm like, "I want this one day."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. I love it. I go there, record, and write, and it's magical.
Yeah. No, that's, well, my backdrop here, this is my studio actually.
I know,
So
I
it's
was looking
kind
at
of
your
like just,
guitar.
yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I do a lot of that too. And that's kind of nerdy side of me, is the engineering side. That's like the other hat I like to wear with music. But, yeah, so cool. So you go there to finish, or do they help you arrange the music too, or do you kind of like already, okay, here's the song, I've got it, and then they just kind of help you track it?
Yeah, that's basically it. 'Cause, well, at the school I went to, they taught us how to do I studied songwriting, so they taught us how to, like, arrange it and figure that out, so when I go over, it's just like, "Hey, I have this song. Deborah, you wanna help me edit?" And then Dave does all the engineering and the recording thing, so, yeah, I go in with the idea already, and we figure it out from there.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, I was as far as, so like as an engineer, and you could, if you ever asked your engineer this, once you become kind of an engineer and you get the ears for that, you can never really listen to music the same ever again. Like your brain just immediately starts like dissecting everything that most listeners wouldn't even think about, like um
I've heard that from different producers. Like the bass like the bass here should have been, or this here should have been this, and I'm like,
yeah, or like why did they do that part, or like it's too loud, the guitar's too loud right here, they should, yeah, I do it, and I do it in when I'm watching bands play live too, and performers, and
Well, Zach
it's
does that to his own, to his own work though, because Zach, over the last few years, Zach has really dedicated himself to becoming the kind of the producer and recording engineer for all of the music that we record. So
that's cool.
and from the band that we played in the late 90s, early 2000s, that had a little bit of a reunion, kind of a revival a couple of years ago, to the current project that we're in now. Zach kind of took it upon himself to become our our recording engineer, and he'll go back through and listen to some of the stuff that he did earlier on, and second guess himself. Why did I do that, man? I wish I would have done this
all the time. I hate it. As soon as I publish it, it's like, hey, new song's up on Spotify, and I hate it.
No, I already hate it completely.
Yeah.
There's a song I have called Goddess where I'm like, man, I wish I could have done this instead, or I should have done this instead. But sometimes you just have to put it out, and you know what? And nobody else will notice except you. So that's the...
Well, and for us, we don't have a big fan base, so it's like, really, who cares? You know, like, really, nobody cares, dude. But I do, you know, like, and you're right though. Like, there's a certain point in your process, in your journey, whether you're a musician, a performer, or a producer, a writer, or engineer, where you have to like get to be okay with where you're at the moment. Like, you know what, this is as best I can do right now, and you just know that maybe a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, that you're like, I could have done better, or you may have learned some new tricks since then. Every now and then though, you'll get a song where you're like, man, that was fire. Like, that was, even back then, like even today, you're like, that was really good mix. And that's kind of how I feel about all the songs we put out last year. Is like, there were a few that I'm like, man, I feel like I dropped the ball on this song, you know. The song itself is fine, just the mixing, you know, like I said, I'm listening to it through mixing ears. And then there's somewhere I'm like, what's that?
I want to hear your guys' music.
Oh yeah, well, we're everywhere. Yeah,
I'll DM you our link tree.
Link.
We're like we got genre ADHD though. I'll warn you right now.
Yeah, we go from we go from reggae to kind of industrial to a little bit of you know, ska and you know, a little kind of
alternative
a pop
rock,
power ballad to a little bit of
indie rock stuff, and
you know, spitting rap back and forth. What was that?
There's that too.
Zach's son called it Dad Groove.
Yeah, I called it Dad Groove.
Dad
So
Groove.
yeah, this is, well, and he is a rapper, and he's actually really good. But he's like, this is cool. It's like Dad Groove, you know, like it's appropriate for your age.
It's
age
appropriate.
Like, yeah, like, age appropriate. Thanks, bud.
Hey man, at our age, Beastie Boys are age appropriate, so show some respect, man.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Let's see.
Quick intermission, folks. We've curated a Spotify playlist called The Guest List, showcasing the incredible artists who grace our show with their talent and stories. Dive deeper into their music. Plus, discover exclusive tracks by Z Frequency. Click the link in the description or search for The Guest List on Spotify. Enjoy, and back to the show.
Oh, I wanted to ask, Rose. So, what, you know, if I recall correctly, when on that set at the House of Blues, it was you. You had a drummer with you that night, didn't you?
I did. That's Dave.
Okay, that's Dave. So Dave.
So that's the guy that does the engineering work for you.
Excellent. Because that's the thing too, is that, you know, it's very, you know, versatile. It's you and your guitar, but then, you know, on you know, in a live setting, you set up, you know, and you've got more of a you know, a backing band with you.
Yeah.
So
and you've been doing this for a while too, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Because I remember watching, I was going down the YouTube rabbit hole with your channel, and there was one who was like a live, I was like I don't know, it was like a live stream where it was like a radio show or something. You were there on the couch with your guitar, a bunch of people around you, two guys doing, I don't know, maybe it was they're the host of the show. One was like DJing and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really get to, like, I watched for, I was kind of scrubbing through, but I don't even remember getting to hear you play anything, but you were there, and that was like, I want to say like 2015 or something like that. It was 5 years ago or 6 years ago. I don't know.
I think
Maybe
I know
it was
exactly
20.
what you're talking about. Yeah, my music has totally changed since then. I think when I went to the music school, I completely found myself as an artist, because before I was just like, I like this and I like this and I like this. And then when I went there, they really helped me shape my artistry, and I really found out there, I'm like, oh, I really write this type of music really well, so I should stick to this. And my voice really sounds good with this type of music. So
that was more of your experimental phases where you weren't like, you weren't trying to, like, now you found yourself basically, where there you were just kind of playing around with. You didn't know what you were at that point. Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
I was 21. Yeah. I was like trying to figure it out. Yeah. When I went to school, I was like, this is who I am. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So, and when you when you perform live, do you normally have like Dave with you or a band or an entourage, or is it just most of the time it's just you playing like to just a guitar? Do you use backing tracks? Like how does your typical performance go?
It's usually live. It's always me and my guitar for sure. When I could have a band, I bring Dave is always there because it's always sorry he's always there because his wife is there and he's my engineer and he knows all my songs, so he plays no matter what. And then sometimes I'll just hire friends and yeah, but most of the time it's just me and the guitar and the storytelling. That's what I like.
Gotcha. Do you have
Yeah.
like a favorite place that you play? Like you're a regular, like you consider you're a house band for like, you can always catch me playing at this place, you know, like cafe or
Yeah.
or
Lately
what
it's been House of Blues Anaheim.
House
Lately.
of Blues Anaheim. Okay.
Yeah, the foundation room. So it's their back room and it's really vibey and cool. But I think I've played the last 3 shows there and yeah, I love it there. You get a new crowd each time and it's comfortable and I get to like show my new music and see if the crowd likes it. So that's where I usually play.
Oh, okay.
Right
So like,
on.
yeah, like a lot of times most guys will like, well, yeah, we go to open mics and that's kind of where I throw out new material and see how it sticks. But I don't know if open mics are really the place to do that because you're not going to get like, I don't know. I did an open mic. I did an open mic once with just me. And
Yeah.
this was like the beginning of like the Z frequency thing, you know, and the whole purpose of that for me was I wanted to be able to have a band but not have a band at the same time, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But it was I didn't want to have to feel committed to anybody, and I didn't want anybody to feel committed to me as you know, the band thing, especially at our age when, you know, like we all have jobs and like all of a sudden we're getting back into it. And long story short, I'm playing at this bar by myself to a cassette tape, which is ironically how I started years and years and years ago. And it was weird. That's all I can say. It was weird because like half the people there that were already performing, most of them were rappers, you know, and I'm over here like, you know,
Yeah.
and everyone was cool, right? They're supportive, you know, they're clapping, whatever, you know, but it was like there really wasn't a fan base, you know, like there'd be somebody in the way far in the back, like, yeah, you rock, bro, you know, that'd be about it. But I think the House of Blues would be a great place to like just try out new material, like especially if they're like, yeah, what do you got, you know?
Yeah, and you know what? Another place that I do try to play new music is obviously on social media like TikTok. So I'll put up a new song, and if it gets some type of traction or some comments or likes, I'm like, okay, people like this one more than this one, so maybe I should put this in my set. So that's another cool way for me to figure out what to play.
I should maybe try that. Like maybe
For
like if
sure.
I have a riff, like, hey, do you guys like? What do you think of this riff or whatever? Just do like a part of that song and see if it gets
Yeah,
traction. I heard people doing that, like musicians doing that, help them blow up. Actually, you know, the way they
yeah.
phrase it, or they already have the song done and they're just pretending like, hey, what do you guys think about this one? You know, but. So TikTok is is that like your main platform for, or do you like, are you an Instagram girl?
I love TikTok because I heard once in a podcast actually that Instagram is like for people that know you and that who've been following you or follow you, and they kind of see your personality through there and your life. But TikTok is like every
Discovery.
video you put up is discovery, and
Yeah.
every video you put up, you're always introducing yourself possibly to a new person. So I try to put my more music on there just to build a fan base, to build like a community. So I'm on both. I try to.
Do you find some of your TikTok followers migrate over to Instagram, or they just kind of hover around and hang? Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah,
'Cause, like,
especially the girls. Yeah, the girls, because they're like, oh, because I do makeup and different like day in the life of, you know,
It's a
my life.
vlogging style.
Yeah,
I love
and
it.
then-
I love it.
yeah,
I
and they
love it.
just, I'm like, follow me on Instagram, and then they go over and there's like a group of girls that have been following me on Instagram from TikTok, and they're so supportive. I'm like, like I post a video and they'll like, I love this. I'm like, thank you. No one said
And they help
you.
give you a lift every time you post
Yes.
something. They're like, I want that. How do I sign up for that? How much does that cost?
Hashtag.
I don't need a lot, maybe 10. Like, just, I don't care if they're girls. It could be dudes too. Like, you know, like, just, anyway. That's awesome. I think that's great. Like, actually, that helps push too, because if you put something out and there's an instant likability, some comments or whatever, it triggers the algorithm, whatever the algorithm gods are, like, oh, hey, they like this. We're going to throw it out to a few more people. And it really does work that way. That's how, you know, the algorithm or whatever, they know, like, okay, this is performing well. We want to give it to more people. And then it reaches a certain barrier of listenership or viewers. And then if it breaks that barrier, then they push it out even more until it stops, you know? And that's how some people get millions, you know, because it just hits hard. And at that point you're viral. But like, I mean, I would love to have any one of my reels or anything that I do hit even 10,000, you know, like, so 60,000, you know, that's awesome. Like, that's,
I mean, it's like, you know, to some people it's like, oh, that's just whatever. But to me, as a small artist who's, you know, independent, it's anybody who comments on my videos or anything is like,
right. You
cool, you know?
celebrate every single one of them.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Zach and I geeked out over one of our Spotify, one track on Spotify that cleared the
1,000.
We have one track that cleared 1,000 plays.
We're like,
and
oh, we cleared 1,000.
But that's like, that one track is like a little over 6,000 now, and it's like,
and they kept going. We're like,
6,000, wow.
2,000,
And then we've got
3,000.
friends that just like released a track, and it's like, oh yeah, it was like first week, man, it's like 15,000 listens on Spotify.
I know.
And it's like,
I have so many friends like that from the school. I'm like, how? I'm like, when I reach 500, I'm like, yes. And it's like, any little win is a big win, you know?
Right. And I think really comes down, like, those are, you know, especially with streams, especially Spotify and like the mega amounts that they pay you for their streams, you know, it's vanity metrics, but it still feels good, you know, like it feels, you feel validated. I think that's probably the word. And so I celebrate every little win. Like, if somebody is willing to go out of their way to make a comment about my stuff, or even like it for that matter. I mean, like is really easy to do, you know, but when they make a comment, then like, I almost always try to reply to that comment, like, thanks for leaving a comment, or ask them about it or whatever. Like, I try to be really engaging. And in fact, that's why I kind of been switching over from, my focus on Spotify to SoundCloud, believe it or not, because SoundCloud is like a social media of music. So like, people on Spotify can stream and they can follow you, but they can't interact with you, where SoundCloud they can like it, they can comment on it, they can even DM you. You can DM your followers. And so it's like this little social media hub, and they've actually revamped a lot of the stuff that they're doing with SoundCloud. So I think they brought in some big hitters, like in the social media management world or whatever, that to help reshape it. And I'm playing with it right now, and I've had better results. Like, I feel more validated on that platform than I ever did on Spotify. And just the idea that it's like, well, you know, because Spotify's king, it's the game you have to play. And I just hate being steered into, you know, like, I feel like I'm like a part of the cattle, you know, a herd of cattle that's going through the gates, you know, like, this is the path. You can't go any other way.
Well, and I think that we've kind of come to the conclusion that while, yes, Spotify is this beast that you want a presence there, you want your stuff to be there because that's where people are listening to stuff. It's not necessarily where you need to put all of your focus and all of your energy and all of your effort.
Correct.
Have it available there, but a platform like, you know, like SoundCloud.
TikTok's great for that.
Yeah, just anything that lets you connect more directly with the people that are consuming your product.
Yeah.
Yep. And go where they are. That's just it. You got to go where they are. Like, that's why Facebook's kind of our big thing, because Facebook is like, that's boomers, you know.
Boomers.
Yeah,
but
we're on Facebook.
Tell my parents that.
No, come on, though.
We're probably the same age as your parents. I don't know how old your parents are.
We're about as Gen X as you can get.
We are Gen X.
When my parents don't know something like social media wise, I'm like, boomer.
I know. It's funny.
I mess with them, but it's funny. I love it.
Yeah. So, you mentioned you're working on an EP right now. Do you have a planned date for releasing that?
I just know it's probably end of summer as of right now.
End of summer. Okay. Are you still tracking, or have you done tracking and now it's just like all of
Tracking.
the? Okay, so
Still
could be
tracking.
more like the end, definitely end of summer then.
Mhm.
And but that's awesome. So, do you have a title for it already, or is that going to
I
be to be
do.
announced? Ooh,
I
can you
do.
share it?
It's called Angel Numbers.
Angel Numbers?
Angel Numbers. So it's like a thing uh in like I guess in the millennial Gen Z world where it's every time I don't know if you ever look at the clock when you're going and it's
Oh
like
yeah,
11
yeah,
11 or 4 4 4 and it's like
yeah.
a thing for me I know it sounds like as stupid as zodiac signs and whatever but uh when I was going through a really dark time I'd pray a lot or talk to my grandfather who has passed and every time that would happen I would see 11 11 on the clock and it was
Mm-hmm.
just kind of my thing, you know. And I wrote a song called Angel Numbers that talks about manifestation in love and life. So, uh,
Cool.
yeah, so I'm like, I think I want to.
I'm a huge believer in I called it number sequencing, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's same thing. I get it
I even
all the
have a
time.
tattoo. I
Do
have a
you?
tattoo.
Of
I
1111?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
It's
always
those
get
butterflies.
that's awesome. So like I usually get the 333 thing. That's my big thing, but number of the beast. Oh.
That's half the
Uh,
beast.
yeah. But yeah, and it never fails. Like, yeah, anyway, I digress. I love
Yeah,
it. I love it.
yeah.
I'm totally kind of a fringe nut anyway. Like, I love aliens and Bigfoot and ghosts, and like I'm all about that stuff.
Me too. Me
Are
too.
you?
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Conspiracy theories. I could talk
Ah.
all day about it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I should have had a podcast about it because we had a guest on that was he's an artist, he's an avant-garde artist, but he has been abducted by aliens when he was a kid. Or maybe he was visited. I don't think he ever claimed that he was abducted,
He's been
but
visited.
he was visited by
Yeah.
aliens. Yeah. And we had him on. And yeah,
God.
it
we
was
had
kind of a
another
hit.
guest. We had another guest who is a death metal artist from and owned a pipe that was owned by
That's right.
a haunted smoking pipe
From Ted Bundy.
that was owned by Ted Bundy. And he talked
that's
about
so
some of his
interesting.
experiences with this
Yeah,
haunted
he said
object.
it was a haunted object.
So
and
it's
it
like
caused
we,
havoc in his life.
when I say we don't know what rabbit hole this podcast is going to go down, it's primarily about music. It's about DIY artists and everything. But man, we've dived into so many different occult rabbit holes, and I
Yep.
love it. I love it,
Yep.
man, because I'm all
Like,
about
I've
it.
seen a ghost once, and nobody believes me except my mom, Izzy.
I believe
I
you.
was like,
I've seen
I
one.
was,
So.
oh my God, I have seen. It was just like clear as day, and nobody believes me. And Izzy
Well, I didn't see an
believes.
apparition, so yeah, that's even you got
I-
one up on me. That's like the holy grail of witnesses or experiences is actually seeing
I
one.
worked at a haunted a resort on the Oregon coast that was haunted, and you would smell just out of nowhere. You
Phantom
would smell
smells.
a wet dog. It was a ghost
Oh, it
dog
smelled
that
like a
was
wet
that would
dog.
run, and you know, so it was banquet rooms that were just divided by the air walls that didn't really block anything out, just separated rooms, and you wouldn't smell it. You'd go into one room and just this pungent odor of wet dog, and you'd go into the next room and nothing. And it was
That
wild.
sounds
And
cool.
there was a ghost lady that I saw a couple of times in different areas of that place. Man, it's you see stuff,
it.
and you know what you saw.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing about it too, is that like, cause like I have coworkers, you know, that just think I'm all hogwash, like, dude, you're off your rocker. And I'm like, I get it. I would be right there with you had I not experienced it myself. You know, like I know what I saw, I know what I felt. It was real. You know, things were moving that should not have moved, period. They moved, like, you know, like I had a locked door unlock and open up on its own, like that. It's one thing for a door to just swing open because of wind or whatever, but it was a locked door and it unlocked, the handle turned and the whole door opened up right in front of me. I'm like, that doesn't happen. That has never happened since, you know. So how do you explain that, right? You don't, you know, unless you just but that's cool. So
Coast to
where
coast
can
Z
people-
frequency, man.
What's that?
Coast to coast AM on the ZHZ podcast.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, where can people find your stuff? Like, you said TikTok, Instagram. Are you in any other socials, or is that kind of like your main home?
So that's my main, is TikTok and Instagram. So TikTok is Bernice Celeste, Instagram is bernice.celeste, and then I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you listen.
Okay,
And
cool.
we'll be providing links to all of that.
Absolutely.
You know, on this and everything. So, you know, so looking ahead to the future, you know, one of the things that we try to do is, you know, with all of our guests is if, you know, if you could give advice to somebody who's just kind of starting out on their musical journey, somebody that's early on and kind of catching that fire, catching that passion, and is deciding, you know what, I think this is what I want to do. What is some advice that you've learned along the way that you would impart to them to help them?
I think like anything that scares you, do it. That's the number one thing. I've always been very in my comfort zone growing up, and I think like at 23 when I really jumped into my artistry, I did anything that scared me. So whether that be doing shows, writing something that's really vulnerable, connection with people, networking, just do anything that's out of your comfort zone, because you don't know where it can take you. And I think that's the biggest thing.
And you never feel more human than when you step out of your box.
Yeah, it's very
Your
true.
comfort zone.
As cliche as it sounds, it's very true though.
It is, and you know, I used to be like that too. I'm like, oh man, I'm terrified to do it, you know. But then you're like, what's really gonna happen? You know,
Yeah,
like what's the worst that's gonna happen? Like,
worst is no.
right, the worst is
No.
a rejection. You know.
It's like, okay, one person's gonna say no, the next, you never know what's gonna happen next. And I mean, like even as small as getting out of my comfort zone and going on these like Disney streams. I mean, like I met Matt, and it's something small like that, and then from there, like the Disney community that we connect with has been super supportive. So I would have never met these people if I had not like gone on and said, hey, on a chat, you know, it's simple.
Yeah,
things like that.
yeah, absolutely. And you know, like, and here we are today. You know, you're on our little podcast, and we appreciate you being on, and
Thank you for having me.
you know, like, and we're just new, you know, like we're not even a year old yet on this, and yeah, and but yeah, we're getting a lot of support. In fact, we're doing a fundraiser right now. I set up a GoFundMe because we've got dues for our subscription of the platform that we use to do these podcasts. And I just like, what the heck, you know, like it wouldn't hurt because it's a little pricey to do it. But we've been getting some support. Like actually, in fact, those of you who are watching, you can check out the link below if you want to support or share it. That'd be great. Self plug here.
Absolutely.
But
Send me the link too. I'll share it on my Instagram.
Sweet.
Awesome. Thank you. Yep, I will. I'll send that to you. And then let's see, what's next for you besides the EP? You got any shows coming up or?
Well, right now, two things are happening. I want to get another one in House of Blues Anaheim, just to get a lot of my Disney friends out there, because Disney's right next door. So yeah. So I want to do that. And then currently just other than the EP, making a catalog of songs to pitch to other artists as well. So that's what's going on in my life right now.
So you say a catalog to pitch to other artists, to do collaborations or?
No, to pitch my songs for other artists to sing.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you're also gonna. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I do that.
So like
too.
you can sell so you're actually you're not just a performer of your own stuff. You're a songwriter. You know who was really did that at first before he got really popular was Bruno Mars.
Yes.
And I love that story. Like he was writing for everybody else, and I think he's because he thought that he was too short or he just didn't have the appearance to be a star. And finally, someone's like, "Dude, you're high. Like you should do this," you know. And he's like, "You know what? You're right. Yeah." So, and he's huge, right? So,
yeah.
Well, and man,
awesome.
what a performer too. Man.
I know.
I mean, really
But
watching. I get so juiced up because I'm a horn player. So I've been playing trumpet for more years than I care to admit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So and Zak and I met in 1991 and started playing music together. So this has been a
That's right.
A year of almost a year of doing a podcast together. It was we had started a new musical project, mostly studio based, and then this year we've kind of identified our live lineup, and we're going to start grinding out some rehearsals to start playing live with this project Z Frequency. But then so and Zach had this super like ambitious beginning of as we were coming into 2024. He says, Matt, 2024 I want to release a song a month. And it's like, really? Okay, man, let's go. And we and damned if he didn't do it. January, February, March, all the way up through September, Z Frequency released a new song every month. And the only reason we didn't release 3 more songs to round out the year is because right around June, July, Zach calls me up and says, man, I've got an idea. Yeah, let's do a podcast.
Because I got nothing else to do with my time.
Right. So, we both got jobs and kids and this band. And so why not? Let's start.
It's fun. And it's been so fun.
And at first it was just going to be, let's talk about, our music. Let's use it kind of as an extra avenue to promote our stuff, but also talk about the life of a DIY musician, of an indie musician, of people that are working and struggling and trying to make it in the industry. And then it kind of just evolved into this, interview format where, we didn't think we would have that many people interested in being guests on the show.
Yeah. I thought that would be a struggle, is to get people on, and we're at the point where people are reaching out to us that I've never even met, Yeah, it's way cool. And I love hearing their stories, because like Matt said, it's more interesting to me anyway.
The human side of it, because and that's the thing. It's like, it's so cool because we get to hear and we get to talk to so many different people that have such different experiences coming up through, but then seeing the commonalities that everybody has, because it's like, because like the advice that you gave, if something scares you, do it. So many people have echoed that. And so it's like, when you hear so many independent musicians from so many different backgrounds, so many different genres and styles, that have the same advice for you. It's like, it's those commonalities that are just so cool to see. And meeting so many people who are, struggling and working and grinding and trying to live that life and trying to forward their brand. And if we can, in some small way, introduce, even a handful of new fans for you, then, that's kind of a huge part of why we love doing what we do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Well, Bernice, it was great having you on. Do you want to do any shout outs to friends, family, supporters, or co-writers?
Yeah.
Izzy Rev!
Izzy, she just left my mom, Izzy Rev, on the chat, but her name's Isabel. So definitely my parents for sure, Jose and Isabel, and Deborah, Dave, and Donnyland for introducing me and Matt.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
And now I know you, Zach.
Yeah. We'll have to have you back, and you'll have to when your EP comes out, we'll have you back on the show and see if we can support it and promote it and tell everyone about it. Yeah, I'd love to have you back on.
Thank you.
Excellent.
And thank you for having me on.
Hey, Matt. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad. This is so cool because this is like two worlds colliding.
Yes.
A lot of most of our viewers are already pretty well familiar with the fact that I am an unabashed, unashamed, completely neurotic Disneyland nerd.
Look at this.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I've got my Death Star popcorn bucket in the background. I've got my droids. I'm full on, and for these worlds to collide, it's really kind of cool because I know that by virtue of you being on the show, a lot of the people that we interact with in the YouTube chats on the Disneyland live streams are going to see this and they're going to say, yeah, for those that haven't figured it out, I'm Matt or Cam Matt.
And I'm just Zach.
But well, thanks, Bernice. We appreciate you coming on the show. Best of luck. We'll be keeping an eye on you and your career and what you're doing. And like Zach said, let's get you back in here when you're ready to release that EP, so we can push it out and help promote your brand.
Thank you. Appreciate it, you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Huge thanks to Bernice Celeste for sharing her journey.
And if you love this conversation, hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment below. It helps us to keep bringing you amazing artists and connecting with our audience.
Next time, we're switching gears and diving into the world of ska music with Salt Lake City's own The Makeways.
These guys bring energy, horns, and pure ska vibes. You don't want to miss it. Tune in next time on the ZHZ Podcast.